Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Piofiore, and we are continuing Nicola's route. We're just about to head into the kitchen, where the head of the Falzone family is, or whatever, the ruler, obviously Julia, so. About to meet Julia, yay. It smells so good in here. I wonder what's being prepared. I'm going to get scolded to death if anyone finds- Oh no, this is probably Leo. I'm gonna get scolded to death if anyone finds out I'm here. It's probably Leo. Come now. Oh, yeah, it is. Come now. A thin boy like yourself needs to eat to grow. Yeah, hot. It's so good. A young man around the same age as me was nibbling on some fried bread. He turned around and... Oh, yay. Yeah, underboss. That looks good, Leo. Good morning, young Nicola. Good morning, Julia. Space, this here's Julia. She's the head of housekeeper overseeing all the maids here. Julia. Cest? Anyway. She's been in the family forever. Everyone's been under her care at some point in time. Oh, so you must be... Are you the one that the young Nicholas swept away last night? That's a bit dramatic. It was for protection. Protection. Oh my, where are my manners? You're a man of propriety after all, young Nicola. Why would I ever think you'd bring a lady here? It sounds like he brings ladies here a lot. After all, your ladies are all outside weeping for your arrival. You don't give up, do you, Julia? Come to think of it. Yeah. That flirty fucking wink, I love it. This is like my favorite. He did wink at me like some playboy. I wouldn't be surprised if there were a lot of girls outside waiting for him. I mean, he doesn't have to, actually, be boning all the ladies outside for you to be like, drooling over him. I'm not sure if he's supposed to have blue eyes, green eyes, or just, aqua-colored eyes, because there's a little bit of blue and a little bit of green going on them, but he is just beautiful. Space, I hope you're not misunderstanding things here. Not to worry, my image of you hasn't changed since the day we first met. You're a whore, but I love you. I'm not sure if that's a good thing. Nicola tilted his head and frowned as he pondered over my response. I turned to the housekeeper of the place to introduce myself. Nice to meet you, Julia. My name's Spacey Adonato. I'm honored to stay in your lovely home. There's much that I don't know, so I hope you can bear with me during this time. My, what a polite young woman you are. She's very refined and well-mannered, isn't she, young Nicola? Why are you asking me? Before I forget, would you mind preparing something for her to eat? Why, not at all. Please wait in the salon while I put everything together. And then let me make you something to drink before the meal. Space, how about a cup of cafe latte? Yes, that sounds lovely. Some extra milk and... Would you like sugar? Yes, please. Nicholas smiled and began to prepare the drink. He gently poured the warm milk into the espresso. The milk foam blended beautifully with the espresso to become a masterpiece. And that's where we learn... Leo's sneaking up on the side! He's so cute! He's sneaking in hi? I'm just wondering if I'm just... literally, before that popped in, I'm Nicola's over there, fucking foam art, and be like, look, it's a cat. And you're like, the fuck? That's his fucking side secret. He's like, I'm actually really masterful with making latte art. And I was totally gonna say that, and then I just see Leo sneaking up on the side hi? Leo? The young man that was watching us from a distance ran toward us. Yes, what can I do for you? If you have time to snack, could you take this to the salon instead? Leave it to me! I won't spill even a drop! Not spilling it would be the norm. Of course you wouldn't. Nicholas sighed with a shrug. He then looked at me and pointed to the door. Do you know how to get to the salon from here? Yes, absolutely. I think. How about a test then? I'll follow you, so lead the way. I'll try my best. I took a deep breath and stepped out into the kitchen with the two of them in tow. It's funny, Nicholas coming with us, but is carry this, Leo. We were in the salon where I was sipping on the cafe latte that was made earlier. Julia came in with a smile on her face. It looked like the meal was ready. Thanks for waiting. Here's some freshly fried... Panzerotti? Whatever. Made using a cylindrical dough rolled flat, then filled with cream and formed into a crescent shape, which is then deep fried in oil. It's commonly found in Italy's Apulia region? Anyway. Cylindrical dough rolled flat, filled with cream, formed into a crescent shape. That sounds so good and decadent. I think I just got diabetes. And I gained 14 pounds. They look delicious. Enjoy them while they're hot. Why, thank you. The flavor of the panzerotti could already be savored from the sight and smell alone. So hot, but so delicious. The flaky dough was filled with tomato sauce and mozzarella. Okay, Shay said cream. But oh my god. It's a croissant pizza! That makes me want to make those. I have crescent dough. You know, the crescent rolls are so good if you fill them with like chocolate and then bake them. So good. Or in this case, now you're like, ooh, pizza sauce and cheese. Ooh, I'm down for that. Why don't I introduce him while you enjoy your meal? Nicola glanced over at the young man, who straightened himself up for the introduction. That explains why, like, when it said panzerotti or whatever, I'm like, it sounds like pepperoni to me. Like, pepperoni in it? Mm. His name's Leo, and he'll be assigned to serve and protect you. I'm pleased to meet you. The name's Leo Cavagnas? Is that what his name is? Please call me Leo. Yeah, I love Leo. I'm so glad you're back. I missed you a little bit. Pleased to meet you too, Leo. My name's Spacey Adornato. You can call me Space. Understood. I heard what you went through, and I can only assume how terrible it was. I'm sure there's a lot of things that you're still worried about, but I'll do my very best to help. I'm looking forward to working with you. Thank you, Leo. And the same to you as well. Thank you. I'd have loved to be by your side the whole time, but I do have other duties to attend to, so unfortunately I can't afford to. I understand. So what are your duties? I stopped myself from finishing my question. Leo called Nicola underboss earlier. The underboss was second in command to the boss. Nicola? The underboss? I didn't know you were... Come to think of it, he was speaking quite casually to Dante, the family boss. He also appeared to have men working under him, so I knew he wasn't too subordinate, but... He was the second in command to Berlone's largest family? Don't worry. Everyone who meets me doesn't see me as an underboss, but I am Dante's cousin and bloodkin to the Falzone. The Falzone family highly values maintaining their bloodline, and so I'm just here for show. I responded to Nicola. You're very kind. You seem powerful. Oh, yeah. Hi. That's not stroking his fucking ego a lot, but that's the right answer. You see...
you seem so powerful, Nicola.
Despite what Nicola says, he couldn't possibly have been assigned to that position just for show. Seeing that I wasn't saying anything, Nicola tilted his head and smiled. Is there something bothering you? Well, I tried to choose my words carefully. I'm sure the Falzone blood is important, but you need to have power and talent to become an underboss, right? Such kind words from you. Your compliment's appreciated. No, that wasn't a compliment. I honestly think you really are talented to be able to be in your position. Do you think so? Yes. Well, at least that's what I think. Thank you for your praise. I suppose I need to work harder to live up to your words. In any case, don't let my position bother you. I'd appreciate it if you'd approach me as you normally do. Normally? Has your attitude toward me so far been normal to you, Nicola? Did I do something wrong? He doesn't notice? Not at all, but you're a very thoughtful person, aren't you, when I'm trying to con someone? Thoughtful is an understatement. Julia casually agreed with me in Nicola's place. He's been taking care of young Dante ever since they were children. He's treated him like a little brother. And that made him who he is today. Hold on. This came out of nowhere and I got another one. Jesus. Literally came out of nowhere. Oh, I see. Young Dante and young Nicola get along so well together. He's from a branch of the Falzone family, so he has the right to their own manor, but he spends most of his time here. Why, he was more shaken than the young Dante when it happened 5 years ago. 5 years ago? As in, when the boss back then was killed? Julia nodded with a sad look on her face. It's kind of interesting we get Dante's dad death backstory in Nicola's route. Killed. The newspaper article said that the previous Falzone boss died from illness. Odd, considering he was doing fairly well. Maybe he was assassinated. I recalled people around town speaking of such in a similar vein. I thought those were merely rumors. Julia? Yes? Was Dante alright back then? His father's passing sounds terrible. Young Dante didn't get along very well with his father. In fact, they seemed to grow apart ever since young Dante came of age. I see. I remember that very night. Young Nicola wasn't here when it happened. Young Nicola felt responsible for what happened in his absence. It was about then that he made many mistakes that were so unlike him. Ah, so it really does, impact Nicola more than it did Dante. Interesting. Julia, I think that's enough for now. I don't think that's something you should speak about in public. Huh. I didn't know that. Oh, yeah, I think we should stop talking about it already. Don't want to dampen the mood, do we? Please go ahead and enjoy the meal. Panzerotti tastes best when it's hot. You're right. I'd better enjoy my drink while it's hot, too. Don't want to waste Nicola's masterpiece. I feel like eating something that's got, sauce and cheese. You're thinking, pizza or, a calzone or some kind of thing with those, the tomato sauce and the thing. And then you're drinking it like a coffee. That's such a weird combo. Like coffee after the fact, but not at the same time. I appreciate your concern. I don't think I need to say this, but I haven't heard anything else here. I'll keep everything to myself. Please do. Now you're why does he feel guilty? Does he have something to do with it? Because he's shady, you know what I mean? So, it's beautiful. After the meal, Nicola brought me to the garden outside. Oh my, what a place. It's incredible. The carefully tended trees and bushes were lined up beautifully. You're in our custody now, so you won't be able to leave here for a while. So if you need to get a breath of fresh air or want to talk, we can do it here. Stepping outside should make you feel better. Thank you very much, Nicola. Do you really like it? I mean, it was referring to everything you've done for me. You saved my life, and I can't thank you enough for it. So it's interesting. So in Dante's route, it was we were taken there, we wanted to leave, so we tried to climb out the window. And in this route, it's you kind of need to stay here. And Sister Sophia's you should probably stay here. And we're all right. So we're not going to try to jump out a window. He even saved Elena and let me meet with Sister Sophia, too. Sister Sophia's like a mother to me. You can't imagine how happy I was. Meeting her eased my tension and brought a much-needed peace to my mind. Your mother... You were raised by the church because you lost your parents, is that right? How did you know? I'm sorry, I did some background checks. I figured it would help me find out why the Lao Shu targeted you. It's hiding the keymaid and shit, but... Good cover. Nice one, Nicola. I found nothing to note, though. I see. Nicola tried to find words to say to me as he looked around the beautiful garden. I'm like Dante. I didn't necessarily have a good relationship with my parents. To be honest, the things I had to do made me feel like I was locked in a cage. If you put me in a cage because of that, I'm gonna... Don't even. You know what it's like. Don't do it. So I naturally parted ways from them. I know this sounds strange, but after I found out what you've been through, it made me feel like you were similar to me. I know that sounds strange. No, not at all. His concern brought warmth to my heart. Maybe that was why I felt much closer to Nicola now than before. Thank you. We looked at each other and smiled. A breeze passed through us, lifting the pleasant fragrance of flowers into the air. Chapter 2. Primo Piatto? A few days passed in the Falzone manor. Though they treated me as a special guest, it made me feel a bit uneasy, so... Lunch looks great again today. Did you make this? I asked if I could help, so now I was assisting with the daily chores. Yes, but under Julia's guidance. I tossed some... Is this... Sime? Derapa? With... Orachete? Then topped it with some shaved... Whatever. There's a lot of fucking Italian food words in here, and I don't fucking know, okay? I don't eat Italian food. I'm not a huge fan of Italian food. Not gonna lie. Some of the pastries sound delicious, or like fucking pizza croissants are fucking delicious, but like otherwise I'm not a huge fan. Like, I don't know. Whoa, all of that is a local favorite in whatever that town is. I don't know. Like, it's just killing me with this. A green vegetable from the Brassica rapa species found along the coast of the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, so it's some kind of a vegetable. Tossed in some kind of a thing with some kind of thing. Botarga was pretty expensive, so I rarely used it back at church. What is that? A salted and dried gray mullet or tuna roe. Similar to the Japanese katasumi. I can say katasumi, but I can't say botarga. It doesn't come up. Yeah. Just as expected of the Falzone, they nearly every ingredient one could want. I made some focaccia and some other antipasti as well. Antipasti? Or antipasta, but whatever. As well. Focaccia I can say, because I've heard that before. Probably not how exactly I say, but that's how, like, I've always heard it. I don't know. We had a tradition of serving small portions from a variety of dishes. Preparing them all did take a while, but it was fun and well worth the time. Everything looks so good. That's right. And you know what else? Everything tastes better when it's made by a cute young lady. Look at our maids. They've been through the ringer, you know? Oh my. Don't tell me that the Falzone men don't know how to respect their ladies. Well, those kinds of folks don't deserve any dolce, that's for sure. Dolce, Italian for sweet, often used in reference to cakes and desserts. See? This would have been nice to... I had to guess in Dante's round. I'm like thinking it's a specific type, and then she's like, I'm making this kind of a tart, and then she brings them and she calls it dolce, and I'm like, I'm guessing that's just like dessert. So yeah. Now you tell me, game. A little fucking late. Figured it out myself. Hold on, don't get me wrong. I actually have a taste for ripe women. Oh my god. Older ladies, ripe women, thick. Oh dear god. So the maids here are ready for the picking. You can come see me in another 20 years. Well then, I guess you deserve this. A nice cut of dolce. Ah, grazie. I'm happy to see you happy. Looks like you're getting along just fine with everyone. Welcome back, Nicola. I hadn't noticed he returned and walked up to him upon his entry. Feels like it's been a while. He's been very busy and is hardly around nowadays. Are you sleeping? You don't look too well. I didn't sleep yesterday, but I'll go to bed soon. Not before your dolce, though. Julian now trusted my cooking and assigned me to bake the dolce. Only dolce? That's not a balanced diet. How about some roasted bream? I actually made the main dish today, too. I coated the bream with lardo. Sounds like lard. Yeah, gross. And roasted it with lemon butter. Comes with sweet potato mash on the side. Doesn't sound terrible, actually. Salted or smoked pork lard. Ugh, that sounds gross. It's just the word lard. That just doesn't sound exactly like great, but I don't know what bream is, but it's obvious, like, that's, you know, whatever. It's like rolling shit. It's like, again, with butter or something, but roast it with lemon butter. Lemon butter? Not opposed to that. I don't know why. Doesn't sound terrible. And it sounds like a work of art. I can't say no to that. I responded to Nicola. I'm sure you'll like it. I smiled and nodded as I prepared his plate. I'm sure you'll like it. You must have some, Nicola. I really think he's going to miss out on what I made today, and without sleep or food, he's going to tire himself out and get sick. He has to eat when he has the chance so that he's well nourished. Look at the little shock on his face. Oh. Nicholas smiled at me, sensing that I was concerned about his well-being. That was the shock. He's like, oh. How can I refuse such an offer? Of course I'll have some broiled bream. Boiled bream. Boiled bream? Broiled bream. Whatever. It's broiled or boiled. Anyway. Oh, but if it doesn't taste good, I'm gonna have you take responsibility. Responsibility? Make it up to me somehow. Wait until you get a taste of today's dolce, then. Sounds like you're ready. Guess I'm at a disadvantage. I really hope it's good so that we don't have to, because otherwise you're gonna have to make it up to me. I don't want to know how we'd have to make it up. I do actually want to know how we'd have to make it up to you, Nicola. Ah, that dolce sure hit the spot. Sweet and tart and perfect. I'm happy you liked it. I didn't know strudel tasted so good when it's hot and fresh. It was amazing. Strudel, a dessert that originated from Austria. The dough's rolled paper thin with various fruits, such as apples, folded into it. Yes, and they taste even better when it's getting cold like now. Okay, they keep talking about the delicious flaky pastry desserts, and I'm down with that, okay? Flaky pastry desserts, down with it. They give you a bunch of other fucking Italian words, and you're like, I don't know. Bruschetta, I can understand. Focaccia, I can do. Some of the bread words, ciabatta, I can do the bread words. That says a lot, doesn't it? Looks like Leo's a slave to your cooking. I'm happy to hear it. Glad I can be of some service while I'm here. Working and moving around does help keep my mind off all the things going on. And then, Space, can I bother you for some time with your services? Now? Thought you were going to sleep. That's what he wants. Oh, I think what he meant was he wants you to be with him when he sleeps. Leo, what in the world are you? Huh? Would it be easier to understand if I said that he wants you to sleep with... Leo. Like, Leo's like, oh, he wants you to have sex with... Like, fucking A, Leo. Oh. Just want to hold Leo and just rub his hair. Leo, you dumb Shh, don't say those things. Especially to a church girl. I don't believe I requested a translation for what I said, did I? Oh, I'm sorry about that, Nicola. Fucking Leo! You just get better, don't you? I love you. Really? I coughed to the side in an effort to hide the redness on my face. Just like, Jesus Christ. I like how forward they kind of are and not... Yes, okay, she's going to be a little awkward about it because she grew up in the church, right? Hasn't been around menfolk, really. I mean... But she still talks to them like normal people. But, like, this would be awkward. But it'd be kind of awkward no matter, even if you were, like... Even if you hadn't grown up in a fucking church, living in, like, a convent, basically. It's like, you want services going to bed? What the fuck do you think I am? Holy shit. The balls on this bit, but then just Leo being like, oh, he wants you to sleep with him. Leo. Polite company. And I just love how, like, because it's 1925. I love that, though. I love how Leo's like, oh, he wants you to have sex with him. Maybe he just wants us to cuddle, but, like, just the way Leo's saying things, you're like, what? Leo, simmer down. And he sees nothing wrong with it. He's like, oh, it's cool. It's so good. I turned to Nicola and nodded. I'm fine now. But do you mind waiting for me to clean up first? Nicola's like, you agreed with this? What? Absolutely. I'll just wait for you here. Nicola, I know you have your standards, but let me say something. Don't try to have too much fun with someone from the church. Please take good care of her. We believe in you. Oh my god. This is the best conversation in the game. Strange. Nicola's smile seemed a bit scary. I went back to the kitchen with the dishes. Also, do we know what we're getting into, right? We know what we agreed. Or she can't be that naive. Julia, I brought the dishes. It's so good to know that they ate everything clean off their plates. It's good to... Oh my. Young Nicola ate everything? Well, yes, even the garnish. Is there a problem? He doesn't like lardo. He won't even take a bite if it's used to cook a meal. Really? I didn't expect him to finish or even try the broiled bream. Nicola didn't say a word about his dislike of lardo. And yet he still ate it? Is it because I recommended it to him? He's trying to get into our good graces. So I ate something I didn't like, so now you're gonna have to do something you might not like. Nicola! Whore. Okay. I love him so. I quietly washed the dishes while thinking about Nicola's reaction to my recommendation. I was finally done cleaning after the meal. Takes her sweet ass time. It's been 4 days. I'm still washing this dish. Nicola brought me not to his room, but to the garden. Was there something you wanted to talk about? You noticed. A little. But you really shouldn't ask me like that. It really gave me the wrong impression. I'll be careful next time and ask you out when we're alone. I wouldn't want another guy besides me to see you blush. Wait, you! Nicola! You don't learn, do you? I was like, obviously, like, we got the hit, and he's like, I want to talk, and then everyone's like, oh, you're gonna have sex, oh my god. But like, but the best part is she wasn't like, what? No, it's not like, oh my god. She was just like, oh my god, Nicola, I get what you're saying, but Jesus Christ. And then she went off and everybody's still teasing and like, doesn't give a fuck. I kind of like that about her. She doesn't feel the need to try to like over-explain. It's fucking great. I don't know. I could feel my cheeks getting warm as I protested, but my agitation didn't seem to bother him. Instead, he was just smiling at me. In any case, I figured you weren't the type to ask me to go to your room, but you listened to me back when I wasn't able to sleep. I figured it's my turn to listen to what you have to say. Thanks for being so accommodating, though it's not so much about listening. Rather, I want you to be in the know. I'm sure you'll find it quite interesting. Interesting? Orlok, are you around? Yes. I didn't notice him there. A young man appeared from the shadows wearing a hood over his face. Hey, his name's Orlok. He's my intel agent and partner from a ways back. I think I mentioned this before, but he's the one who told me you were in trouble. Orlok. So you're the informant. I didn't expect him to be that person, especially since I saw him often at church. I turned to him and apologized. I'm very sorry for not giving you my thanks back then. And thank you very much for saving us, Orlok. I couldn't turn a blind eye. I assumed Nicola would help if he found out. Yeah, I was pretty lucky that she came to me directly to let me know she was in trouble. It seemed like an odd statement. He's making it sound like he was the lucky one and not me. Nicola noticed me pondering over his statement. Don't let what I said bother you. I didn't put any thought into that comment. Yeah, he's being shady, because, like, we obviously know the secrets now, like, but... And then that aside, Orlok, do you have any updates? If you're referring to the slave trade, then I don't have any new information. She was the last one attacked. Nothing much has changed since then. That also means that the abductions in Berlin have subsided, at least for now. I see. What you said matches what I've heard. The police are also saying the same thing. It wasn't a coincidence. The Lao Shu must know. Orlok, can I ask you to continue with what you do best? I'll be sure to make it worth your while. Orlok nodded to Nicola and quickly disappeared from the garden as mysteriously as he appeared. Nicola, about what you said earlier, his comment about how the Lao Shu knew something was bothering me, but... Well, that's about it for me. May I lead you back to your room? He abruptly changed the subject to show that he had no intention of continuing the conversation. Yes, thank you, Nicola. In turn, I ask that you rest well. I will. I'm pretty tired today. Nicola smiled and escorted me back to my room. What's the matter? If you keep that up, you're gonna make me blush. Oh, was I staring at you? I hesitantly said what was on my mind. I appreciate how kind you've been to me, but are you being a bit too kind? Aren't you being a bit too kind? See, she knows he's shady as fuck. She's like, it's kind of suspicious. Oh? You don't like lardo in your meal, right? Oh, that... Somehow I felt I could eat anything today. Somehow? You're too kind, Nicola, and it worries me a bit. Because she's like, you're too kind for your own good, it's going to hurt you. No, it's going to hurt us because you're going to trust him. That's all I'm saying. I'm not sure what you see in me, but I'm not all kind, you know. Our family's very strict. We're ruthless and cruel to anyone who dares break the rules. Rule refers to each of the family rules that must be followed. Those who break the rules receive the most extreme punishments, like death. And by anyone, I mean allies as well. You saw Leo scared of me, right? I'm not very kind to my men. Really? I suppose Leo must know Nicola's demeanor as a member of the Mafia. You've done nothing wrong. And more than that, you're like any other normal girl. I have no reason to be harsh with you. And so what you see here is me being myself. Whether that makes me kind or not is really in the eyes of the beholder. Does that mean you're not approaching me as part of the Mafia, but rather approaching me as an individual? Nicola gave me a gentle smile. I'm approaching you with a shady fucking face on. His gaze upon me was making my heart race. The following day, after Nicola introduced me to Orlok. Okay, the windows are all done. You didn't have to clean them. I mean, you're not here to be our maid. You're here so we can protect you. I feel bad seeing you help prepare our meals. But I need to do something to pass the time. Julia asked for help, too. Back when I was at the church, we had all our responsibilities and chores for the day. We all have, sorry. So I can't imagine passing the time without doing anything. I guess it's a matter of habit, then. Well, do you have any hobbies? If Nicola finds out that you're doing all these chores, I'll be in for it. If that happens, then call me. I'll explain myself to Nicola. Thank you very much. After I finished whipping down the windows, I peeked into the kitchen to see Julia. Oh, Space, what timing? I'm so sorry, but do you mind taking this cappuccino to young Dante? I'm afraid I'm too busy to take it to him now. Why, of course. To his office, right? Yes, if you could, please. Huh. Just as I was about to knock on the door, I heard someone's voice coming from inside. If there's anything you need, feel free to let me know. After all, I do owe much to your father and the Falzone family. I know this voice. Paris? Is it Gerald Paris? Yeah, okay. Gerald Paris was a famous Berlin politician. He was very popular among the citizens. I remember him coming to church often to see how the children were doing. I didn't know he had connections with the Falzone family. I guess I shouldn't go in now. What are you doing here? Do you want to see Dante? Nicola looked down at my hands and immediately responded. Ah, cappuccino. Oh, let me take that. I needed to talk to Dante anyway. Are you sure? I felt bad that he was going to take it to Dante when Julia asked me to do it. I'd tell you not to worry, but knowing you, how about you make an espresso for me instead? I'll head to the salon in, say, 30 minutes? You can count on me. Thank you, Nicola. I thanked Nicola for being so thoughtful as I handed over the tray with the cappuccino. I turned around and left the office, heading back to the kitchen. It's gonna be like I never got my fucking cappuccino. 30 minutes had passed. Nicola, here's the espresso you asked for. As a small token of my appreciation, I also brought a small tray with pistachio biscotti to the salon, when all of a sudden... Don't underestimate the police! Now fess up, Nicola Francesca! Oh, it's Roberto. Okay, I didn't know who it was. Please keep it down. I have a massive headache. I stopped right at the entrance to the salon. Inside were Nicola and Roberto, along with a number of the Falzone's men. The men had their guard up and were ready to pounce on Roberto at any moment. Noticing me at the entrance, Roberto suddenly gasped in surprise. I really want a fan disc with a route with him because I'm just so curious that he's so like grouchy. He's the grouchy, angry, like, God, whatever. You expect him to be kind of a marshmallow like Dante, but Dante's like awkward and gentle, and you expect him to be like awkward and harsh, like not knowing. You're like, God, you kiss hard, Jesus. You don't kiss nice, do you? Still like it, but Jesus, you're a little violent, like, because he's so angry about everything, and then like so angsty. Such a fucking angsty little cupcake, isn't he? Nicola didn't say a word to him, and instead looked at me and smiled. Thank you, Space. How thoughtful of you. I'm sorry, I didn't know you had a guest. I only brought enough here for you. That's fine. He'll be leaving shortly. What? Roberto glared at Nicola's lack of interest. I could tell very easily that Roberto was beyond angry. Explain it to me in a way that makes sense and I'll leave. He doesn't have a voice, right? Anyway. He was trying his best to hold his anger, but it was quite apparent in his eyes. I don't think he does really good at holding an anger at all. He always looks angry and sounds angry. He's an angry little cupcake, isn't he? He must be a South Pole elf. I know you worked behind our backs to get your men released from jail for free. Working to free a criminal without their punishment is a crime in itself. Do we have to go through this again? I went through the proper channels at the station and the court to legally free them. Well, where's your honor? I'm afraid we have some kind of misunderstanding. Do you really think I have the power to manipulate the law? Of course he does. The men were released because your station and the court deemed them not guilty. That's all there is to it. Nicola replied gently in an effort to try to quell Roberto's anger. Then all of a sudden, the tone of his voice changed. And the case of the young girl's abductions here suddenly ended without any notice. Your men didn't even investigate the incident properly and instead closed the investigation. And now that you have the spare time, you're trying to find fault with the Mafia? I quietly listened to their conversation. Can you imagine how much trouble it is for us to entertain you folks? It's our job as the police to monitor and arrest the Mafia. Now that the abductions have ended, it's only natural that we direct our focus to the Mafia. Just start with, you're all criminals. You have no right to denounce the police. No right? You know, you should really think before you open that mouth of yours. Do you seriously think an officer like you has the authority to come barging into the Falzone residence like this? A friendly word of advice. Think about whether you have the right to come here. And be careful of how you act next time. If you plan on living in Berlin, you should at least learn how things work around here. I guess Nicola has no plans of causing further ruckus, at least for now. The tension began to rise in the salon. Roberto was still glaring at Nicola. He opened his mouth to speak, but Leo knocked on the wall to request attention. You have a guess, Nicola. Marco? Sorry for the trouble, Nicola. His words and actions are my fault as a superior. What? Marco? You don't need to listen to... Roberto, do we have to go through this again? You don't want to learn, do you? Just drop it and let's go. Roberto reluctantly headed to the door with Marco. Roberto's like the new puppy on the floor. He's so pretty, though. I love him. He's got saucy eyes. On his way out, he stopped in front of me. His eyes are beautiful. He's like angry eyes, but I love them. Come with us. Huh? I have no idea why you're here, but you shouldn't mingle with them. Just leave this place and get back to your normal life at the church. Oh, Unbelievable. You don't know how to treat ladies either. And that's why I want to route with him, because you know he's probably like a decent person deep down inside. Like he's not that like, but he's so angry and so just stressed out and tense, and then he's being a little like rude to us. And you know he'd be like, he'd just grab you and try to drag you along. He'd be like, why are you being so mean and you don't know how to treat ladies? Exactly. But you know he does. He's such a little cinnamon bun on the inside, but he just doesn't know how to deal with it. Like Dante's the marshmallow. Like he's like, oh, I'm a little awkward around you and I'm a little cold. He's a little cold and frosty. But he's like, I get you books and stuff, but like, I didn't do it. You know what I mean? But it's a totally different than fucking like Roberto over here, who's like, would just be like a little, I don't know how to do that. And just be like all angry because he doesn't know how to deal with women. You're like, you're so derpy and cute. I'm gonna slap you. Don't manhandle me like that. But like, you kind of want to be manhandled like that? I don't know. It'd just be kind of fun. Like, he would be a fun route. I don't know anyway. It's her choice where she wants to be. Unless, of course, you're going to arrest her. I bet you've kept her here against her will. Person of faith associating with the Mafia? Ridiculous. Her very existence here is sufficient proof to warrant your arrest. Roberto's hostility was growing. See, he would be such a fun route to have. Like, he'd just be so angry at you for, like, being, why are you with them? Like, oh, why won't you let me love you? Why won't you, like, figure out your emotion? Why can't I figure out my emotions? I don't know, Roberto, but seriously. It would be such a fucking train wreck, but it'd be so great. I'm here of my own will, yeah. Roberto, I'm afraid you've misunderstood. What? I'm here of my own will. There's nothing about me that the police need to worry about. You want to be here with the Mafia? No, that can't be. I won't accept that as fact. But it's the truth, and... Nicola gently placed his hand on my shoulder to try and calm me down. She's my special someone. Whoa, Nicola. Roberto's jealousy flares. Like, because he kind of thinks nothing of us. Like, he's that person who thinks nothing of us. Like, we're just here. You're just some church going, oh my God, and he's annoyed by everything, but he kind of would, like, love us. Anyway, you know the character that he is. You can see just by the way he is, and I just want that so bad. I need a fan disc of this game. Like, stat. Like, I need it. With, like, all our happy, fluffy after stories, but the Roberto side story, and, like, sure, maybe a Leo one, I'll take it. Like, who else could you have a side story with? Like, I mean, Just don't really... There's really nobody else yet that you could have a side story with, but... Usually there's a bunch of other characters, but hey, those two are fine, you know? And come now, and the police are going to intervene in other people's relationships, too? Someone... Special someone... He's joking like usual, right? And this is a bit too much for me to handle. Roberto looked stunned. Seeing me show a favorable disposition toward the Mafia must be shocking to him. I can only assume what he was witnessing was far beyond belief from his point of view. He's like, he assaulted you, didn't he? No, not really. Not yet. And do remember this. I won't let you bring any harm to her. Don't force your justice onto others. Why, you... I'm sure you're both busy men, so why don't you take your leave? I'd also appreciate it if you didn't waste my precious time. Let's go, Roberto. But Marco... As much as I hate to say it, I understand your concern. Nicola, take good care of her, you hear? Of course. And then we're good. Marco somewhat forcefully dragged Roberto out of the manor. Now then, who was the kind soul that allowed that officer in here? That was me. What were you thinking? Even if he was causing noise outside, there was no reason to let him in here. I'd never seen Nicola this angry before as he scolded his elder subordinate. We'd be at a disadvantage if something happened inside the manor, regardless of who started it. And that makes it harder to cover, and that in turn mars our boss's name. I'll ask you not to bother Dante over such petty matters next time. My apologies. I promise in the name of the family to never make the same mistake again. Unsightly! Is it a Roberto storyline? I bet it is. Kind of hoping it is. Yeah, it's because it's outside. Others. It couldn't be. It's impossible. She's Nicola's mistress? I don't believe it. Mistress, eh? Are you seriously saying that? Huh? You gotta remember that Nicola's a mouthful of lies. There's probably a good reason why she's there. And again, the reason is only good to the two of them. Wait, the reason is... Wait, what does it say? Then again, the reason is only good to them too. Okay. If both of them are in agreement of their arrangement, then we shouldn't intervene. Is she being dragged into some major operation? Clenched my fist and glared at the manor. See, because he's so noble. He wants to save everyone, but he's so angry at everything. Ah! I love him! He's so fun. Oh, we could do an Oliver route. Our bitchy accountant, who's actually a lawyer, but looks like an accountant. Anyway. The extravagance of it, built with the hard-earned money of the people, looked unsightly to me. I love how angry he is about this whole thing. It's like, I'm here to angry! He's angry little marshmallow, isn't he? I can only stand by and watch as the espresso I brought went colder by the minute. I'm sorry about that. I hope I didn't scare you. Just a little. Oh, let's step outside once I'm done with the espresso. Some flowers in the garden have just bloomed. I'm sure you'll love them. Yes, I can't wait. I awkwardly nodded at Nicola's smile. I let out a sigh in the garden. The cool air felt much better compared to the tension back in the salon. Nicola? You were talking earlier about how the abductions weren't happening anymore. I recalled Orlok mentioning something similar as well. Back then I didn't have the chance to ask about it, but... Does that mean the Lao Shu have stopped? Can I go back home then? Nicholas smiled hesitantly at me, and spoke as if he were comforting a child. I suppose so. At the very least you're safe from the abductions. But you did witness the Lao Shu's crimes, and that means they may still be after you. Then, when can I go home? You'll be safe once we eradicate the Lao Shu. How long might that take? Weeks? Months? A couple decades? Nicola quietly closed his eyes, hearing my anxious questions. I'm sorry, Space. No, I'm sorry. I understood very well how much effort they made in securing my safety, and trying to eliminate the Lao Shu wasn't going to happen overnight. It would obviously take some time. I know the Falzone's doing a lot for me, but I hope I can leave soon. The church is my home after all. Asking for that wasn't going to help Nicola at all. I decided to talk about his conversation with Roberto to change the subject. Oh yeah, that'll make him feel better. Nicola? What is it? Remember you said that you got your men released from the police? That was all true, right? How do you know? It sounded real coming from you. You are the underboss, after all. He looked at me with his usual calm expression. I conduct myself in ways that go against the law. As Roberto says, I'm a criminal. But can't you make choices that don't go against the law? That wouldn't be fun. If so, I'd gladly fulfill whatever wish you have. And may I remind you, the Falzone family is part of the Mafia. We're a criminal organization. I hope you're not forgetting that. The members of the Falzone family have all treated me well since my arrival here. Maybe that had warped my perception. I was probably living a life that lacked any input from reality. Almost as if I were dreaming. Nicola's words brought me back to my senses. I was being held in custody of the Mafia. I was under the care of a criminal organization. We need to demonstrate power. No one goes against someone with power, and that helps us to avoid conflict. I believe that's the best way to keep the peace. I hope that doesn't disappoint you. I responded to Nicola. It doesn't. Anyone who lives in Berlin knows that the Mafia here doesn't do what they do for charity. So what you told me doesn't change how I view the Mafia. Huh. I thought you'd be disappointed. I didn't expect you to be so objective. But I am disappointed in myself. In yourself? What do you mean? I was being too optimistic. I wasn't thinking properly. Living here under this level of care and comfort, I should have put more thought on what it meant to be under their custody. I'm being protected by the Mafia, so it's no surprise I'd be involved in your affairs. But I hope that's not the case. All I know is that I'm in an environment where that could happen. And you want out? I don't want to go against the law. You're a lot bolder than I thought. Nicola looked at me with interest, then let out a chuckle. Is there anything else bothering you? Anything else? I was a bit surprised at how strict you were against one of your men. I know you said you weren't kind to your men, but still. Our family's very strict. We're ruthless and cruel to anyone who dares break the rules. And by anyone, I mean allies as well. And that's why he's so good in this role, because he's actually really good, the voice actor, Ryohei Kimura. Because he's Shiraishi, and one other... He does other voices, I'm sure, but that's the only one I know off the top of my head, aside from a mobile game. But he is, like... He's one of those ones that's bafflingly good at, like, he can have such a sweet, kind voice, and you're like, oh, you're so good. And then he can be like, and you're like, oh god, where did that come from? Look, there's a lot of Japanese voice actors that are really good at that, but it still impresses me every time. I'm always like, oh, you were nice and sweet, and now you're getting, what? What? So, you know, like, I could absolutely, like, just hear the tone of voice change. I don't do it justice, but anyway. If I think about it, well, the CGs, I think you can hear the voices over the CGs, so that's what we might do when we turn the voice acting on at the very end when we go through. If I think about it. Or, because I was like, oh, we should remember that scene where he's, like, talking to Roberto and whatever, and then he starts getting threatening so that you could hear the change in the tone. Would be a really great scene to kind of go through for him. If I remember. Otherwise, we're just going to go through and listen, because, like, I noticed you could play the voice for the CGs, so I think you can do that. So we might do that. This one we can check out the CGs and hear the voice acting. So we'll get to go through the CGs again. That'll be fun. Anyway, it's not that I didn't believe him, but after seeing the harshness play out in front of me today, it made me realize maybe I was being a bit too optimistic of the situation I was in. And keeping to the rules is important. I'll let that go and the whole system will fail. That's why each member of the family needs to be guided carefully. After all, I am Dante's... I'm working as support for the Falzone family. My job is to nip any potential problems for the family in the bud. That must be Nicola's role as the underboss. This might have been the first time I saw Nicola as a member of the Mafia. Let me ask you something. You're talking with the administration of the family right now. How is it? Are you scared? I responded to his question. I am scared. No, I'm not scared. We're both human, so I'm not scared. We're both human, so absolutely. You being a member of the Mafia, no. Being a human being, absolutely. Humans are terrifying. Pretty brave, aren't you? You've been treating me nicely ever since I came here, too. But don't put too much faith in me. I am, after all, a criminal. And that's him right there, like, I am so gonna backstab you, but then I'm gonna fall in love with you. But, like, in the middle, backstabbing. Nicholas' teasing words made me giggle. I mean, he's telling you the truth, but he's saying, like, I'm a member of a criminal organization. Shouldn't put too much faith in me. I might stab you in the back. And you're like, oh my God, you told me the truth of what you were going to do, and I didn't believe you because you were being cute when you said, damn it. I'm just saying. Con artist level max. How could I forget? Remember how I introduced you to Roberto as my special someone? My apologies. I should have asked you first whether I could say that or not. Well, it did surprise me, but you had to do what you had to do. Don't worry about me. It's all right. I understand. Thank you. Still, what I said back there was a bad choice regardless. Really? Well, that officer is quite attached to you. What? You mean Roberto? Oh, absolutely not. I kind of, think he might, he got all, when you bumped into him, but I think he was I don't have to deal with girls and she's cute. I absolutely feel that way, and it'd be so much better if we had a side route with him. He's never been particularly kind to me. In fact, I think he may actually hate me. Perfect! Perfect! That's what I'm saying right there. You're like, oh my God, that's a route. We've never even spoken casually before. I go Nicholas like, A few days passed since Marco's visit to the manor. Come in. Nicola? What's all this? These are for you. Sister Sophia packed your belongings together and sent them here. She also sent you a letter. I can deliver your reply to her. Oh my, what a pleasant surprise. Grazie, Nicola. You're very welcome. Dante did give orders to ensure that living here would go smoothly for you. Dante said that? After Nicola took his leave, I began thinking to myself. Come to think of it, I haven't seen Dante for a long while now. Well, he is the boss, so it's only natural that he'd be busy. The last time I saw Dante was when Sister Sophia was here. Nicola took the cappuccino for me and brought it to Dante in my stead, too. Dante was the Falzone family boss and the heir to the manor. His care and discretion provided me all that I needed to live here comfortably. Isn't there a way I can show him my thanks? I kept wondering about it as I left the room to go to the kitchen. Young Dante's favorite food? Well, now, there's a lot that he likes. In fact, his tastes are very clear. Does he like sweets? Maybe fruits? He'll eat anything sweet. As for fruits, he loves strawberries. Strawberries? That's perfect! I made some strawberry jam back at church. Don't tell me you're gonna go and get it. I doubt young Nicola will let you do that. Could someone get them for me, perhaps? I believe that can be arranged. Our maids are going shopping, so I'll ask one of them to stop by the church. Really? Thank you, Julia. That would be great. No, please thank the maid who'll go there. And now then, I need to step out for the laundry. Feel free to use the kitchen as you please. Thank you. Her voice is changing, but whatever. I hurriedly rolled up my sleeves in preparation. Good. It came out perfectly. Crostata? Is it croissant? Out from the oven came a freshly baked strawberry crostata. A baked confectionery made with cookie dough and jam. It's noted for its flaky texture. Cookie dough and jam. Okay, I always it's weird when there's the jam cookies, but at the same time, still probably try it. Okay, look. I don't like Italian food. You're like, I just want the Italian desserts. That's all I want. I couldn't go to Italy. I'd be 400 fucking pounds when I came home because they'd be like, did you want it? No, I just want the dessert. Okay, I don't the Americanized Italian food. When you go to Italian restaurants, there's pretty much standards. Or standards you make at home. You make spaghetti and you make things I'm not a huge pasta person. But some of these other things, the desserts sound delicious. Every time they talk about fucking bread, I'm like, okay, I'm there for the bread and the dessert. And this is why I don't live in Italy, because I wouldn't be able to walk. Although none of those people are fat, roly-poly assholes like me, and yet all they eat is fucking bread and dessert. Probably because they wouldn't eat all the fucking dessert and all the fucking bread. Here's one little biscotti. Just one? I ate the whole fucking bag. It's like, here's an Oreo. Bitch, I'm gonna eat the whole fucking package. The only thing that stops you from eating all the Oreos is the fact that you have to dip your Oreos in milk. And then that's what fills you. You're like, oh, too much milk. Not like lactose intolerant, but like just sometimes too much milk and you're like, oh, your stomach can only handle so much milk. That's the only thing that stops you from eating all the fucking Oreos. Because like you can't just eat a fucking Oreo. No, you gotta pry it open. You gotta lick the cream. You gotta put it back together. That's how you're supposed to do it. And then you dunk it in your milk and then you eat it. Like, or what's actually fucking amazing, peanut butter Oreos, you know, with like the peanut butter cream inside, and fucking coffee. Hell, fucking well, except for like lemon Oreos. I don't lemon Oreos. Unless they were like the vanilla cookie. No, but like the normal Oreos or like peanut butter Oreos, like coffee. Fuck yes, bitch. Anyway. I baked using a very flaky cookie dough filled with the strawberry jam I made back at the church. I promised to bake a fresh pie for the maid who brought the jam for me today. You're like, I'll make you a pie. Jesus. I thought I smelled something good. So where's Julia? She went to do the laundry. Busy as usual. And you are... Me? I was just baking some crostata. Yes, I can see that. I'm curious as to why you're baking, especially when no one's around. Who are you baking them for? Well, for you, Nicola. So funny that if saying for you is a bad thing to say, but because it's not true. But I baked them for Dante. I just wanted to thank him for letting me stay here. It's the least I can do to show respect to him as a boss. Oh, by the way, I forgot to show you that. Like, it's starting to color in. But see how faint it is? And like a couple, like while back before we started like the last part, I think, I was thinking about it, but I totally forgot. You could barely even see the color, but you can still barely see the color. Anyway. It's the least I can do to show respect to him as a boss. Nicola's like, am I overstepping my boundaries? Not at all. I'm sure Dante will be happy. He does love his sweets. I appreciate your thinking about Dante like that. Say, Nicola, do you mind having a bite? I began to cut the crostata into slices. I was planning on serving a slice to Dante. The rest was for everyone else here. Oh my god, so it's not like a tiny little... I was thinking they're like cookies, like bite size. It's like a fucking giant cookie dough cake? What? With... A bite, eh? You don't like crostatas? Or is it the strawberry you don't like? It's not that. It sounded like you made this as a show of appreciation for Dante and are offering me the crumbs. That's not what I was implying. Oh, are you sure? I really appreciate what you've done too. I thought that was pretty clear. You could be clearer, you know, in showing your real appreciation. Okay, now you're getting shady. How? Let me see. Why don't you cut a forkful of the crostata and feed it to me? Huh? Since you really appreciate me. He is such a shady bitch. I love him. Are we gonna... Oh my god, do we get a CG of us feeding him it? I want it. Nicola naturally came closer to me, all the while with his usual smile. He's being slightly predatory right now, and I love it. Or maybe... Fine, I'll feed it to you. I held the fork up in my hand. He's like, or maybe... You're like, I don't even want to know. No use in me holding back here. I need to do this. If I don't do this, I feel like things are only going to take a turn for the worse. She's like, I don't want to know what else he's going to ask. Oh my god, we do. Oh my god, it is. It's like a strawberry pie. Look at the fucking look on that bitch's face. He is sexy as fuck. Jesus. We looked at each other closely. His charming smile was relaxed while my face and body were tense from the pressure. Okay, here I go. It's literally basically just like a strawberry pie. Interesting. But made with cookie dough. What kind of cookie dough? Because I'm thinking like cookie dough, but like... Seems like you'd make it with more of a pastry dough. Well, I mean, I guess, because you could, like... Because I was thinking more like some kind of like strawberry cook... Like small, like round cookies with like the tart. Or like the jam kind of in the middle. But this is just in a pie form. So interesting. Anyway. And no need to look so serious about it. You don't need to do this, you know. It's not that, it's just embarrassing. Awkward, yeah, definitely. If it's so embarrassing, then I don't want to force... It's okay, Nicola. I want to show you my appreciation, and I'm really afraid of what else you might ask for. This is just my way of showing that. I stated it strongly, as if I were trying to convince myself. Well, if you say so, will you do the honors? Yes, open up, Nicola. With pleasure. And with that, I slowly moved the crostata closer to his mouth. And now it just magically disappears, but with the CG... It'd be awkward if he was like, ah, and there was like food in his mouth. It'd be weird, but... It's just so funny that they just get rid of that piece. Nicola opened wide and took a bite. No, and that was good. Thank you. My pleasure. I worked really hard on it, so I'm happy you liked it. Is there a problem? No. I was just thinking how much I like you. You're lying, right? That's terrible. I'm not lying. But you aren't serious, are you? Well, sort of. You're a kind gentleman, but sometimes you can be really mean. I don't think it's very nice to say things that can be misunderstood. Nicola laughed like a kid and moved away. You can lie with a smile on your face. You'd better watch out next time. You're one to talk. For the most part, you act like a lady, but you do have your moments. And I'm not the only one who lies, so no need to be so alarmed. You don't even deny that you lie. I let out a deep sigh and placed Dante's slice of crostata on a plate. It was freshly baked, so I should take it to his office while it was still warm. Perfect place to end it. This is great. I love that Nicola's kind of teasing, like, I like you. And she's like, you're lying to me, aren't you? And he's like, I mean, what? No. And she's like, come on. And he's like, maybe. Like, it's because you're like, I feel like somewhere inside he definitely does, but he's also shady as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, thinking about Dante's route and him trying to keep you away, like, maybe he's not as, like, desperate to kill you, like, in Dante's bad endings, because you're not anywhere near Dante. Like, maybe the difference is, like, yes, he was like, yeah, we're going to protect you because I kind of have to, but I kind of want you out of the picture. And, you know, so he has his shady, sus motivations, right? But in Dante's route, when you're getting closer to Dante, he's like, no, 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 no. Maybe there's a little bit of jealousy there, but it's also like the I don't want you getting close to fucking Dante because I don't have to take you out, bitch. Kind of like the Dante's bad ending, where it just kind of went south. But like, you know, so like he's in that precipice of like, I just want to keep you away from Dante, and keeping us away from Dante is good. Like, okay. So maybe he's just kind of, okay, we're keeping you away from Dante, and that's fine. I'll protect you, and I can convince him to forego this without having to kill you or worry about you, just as long as I keep you away from him. So I still think he has a suspicious motivations, and I still don't trust him 100%. But I feel like sometimes when he's saying things, he's like teasing you, but also there's an underlying, a little bit of truth underneath, whether he realizes it or not. But he's still like messing with us because he's just a little bit of a fucking flirt and a tease. You know what I mean? I still love him. Even though I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, he's being so nice. He's being so nice, but the other shoe is going to drop and he's going to sell us to fucking Yang in a minute. Like, he sells us to Gilbert. You know what I mean? Like, that shoe's going to drop. He's going to do some sus shit. Like, all I'm saying, but. Anyway. I don't trust him after that. So. But we'll continue next time down his rounds. I'll see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.